$1,000. Every child, every person in America has a personal debt to the government of over $100,000 predicated upon the excessive borrowing and spending of both major parties in Washington, D.C. At the same time, the borders of our country, especially at the southern border, are wide open to criminals and gangsters and potential terrorists, not to mention those that are sucking the lifeblood out of the states and the border states in Arizona and Texas and New Mexico and California. You wonder what's wrong with California's economy? It's really not hard to figure out. The problem with California's economy is illegal immigration and socialism. That's the problem with California. And if the media is still here, you can count me down on this. I say, hooray for Arizona! The states at the border should have done many years ago. I keep hearing these people say, oh, this is a racist thing, and it's a terrible thing, it's anti-America, it's all this kind of thing. Then you ask these people, have you read the bill? I read the bill. Have you read the bill? You know what the bill does? The bill tells the state police agencies of Arizona to enforce the law that has already been established by the federal government. The law of Arizona is basically the federal law already in existence. Isn't that amazing? Law enforcement personnel are now allowed to enforce the law. Wow. I was at the border. I spent a couple of weeks over there in Southern California, the border states, and I spent a lot of time out there. And I talked to border personnel, and I talked to volunteers, I talked to ranchers and people all up and down the southern border, and I got a little idea. However bad you think it is at the border, I had a preconceived idea of the problem at the border. Let me tell you, it was 100 times worse than I thought it was. The problem on the border is not that we don't have fine men and women in the Border Patrol and Customs. Those people are working under some of the most adverse circumstances you could possibly imagine. They are under-equipped, they are undermanned, they are out. Let me give you some examples of the kind of deprivation they have at the border. Do you know that our Border Patrol have no night vision equipment? Most of the illegals coming across the border come across the border at night. Duh. No night vision equipment. Most of our people on the border are spaced out at such intervals that they have very little support. The gaps are massive. I mean, I went to parts of the border, you could have driven a tank across the border. There was absolutely no reason that you could not come across in mass, in all up and down the border where I visited. These men and women are under the gun literally. Many of them are being shot at by human traffickers. Gang members have declared war on our law enforcement personnel, both federal and local and state, along the border. The ranchers are being shot at. The ranchers are being killed.